Welcome to a brand new hour of CBS Sports HQ. You got the JDs with you today. Oh,
I don't know.
Raising the roof?
I don't know what that was, Jenny. I was just raising the roof for the JD show. I'm excited, okay?
Are you excited because it's the PGA Championship? Is that what you're
100%.
excited about? Golf's second major of the year finally is upon us?
Yes, and there's so many storylines. We have Xander, who's trying to defend his title. Scottie Scheffler, looking for his first major win outside of Augusta. Is Jordan Spieth going to complete the career Grand Slam? And then, of course, there's Rory McIlroy. How can we forget? Are we going to see him win back-to-back majors? That's just a preview for you, so let's dive in and give you a full PGA Championship preview. Take a listen.
For whatever reason, Quail Hollow has been really good to me.
Does indeed. Rory McIlroy. Wow. Welcome to the big time. That is outrageous.
To get my first win in the US is very special, and to do it on a golf course like this is even better.
From winning here as a 20-year-old, this is one of my favorite places in the world.
Feels pretty good at the minute.
These people have sort of watched me grow up. I've been lucky enough to win here 4 times, and I can't wait to keep coming back and see how many I can get.
Quail Hollow Club, Charlotte, North Carolina.
What a sight.
Absolutely breathtaking. It's withstood a test of time.
Great field of golfers against a great Quail Hollow course.
Layouts like these are making par a meaningful thing.
Gosh, it's going to be all you want. I have got great anticipation for this major championship. We have all the world's best players coming in great form.
He's done it. I don't believe it. A phenomenal talent. The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Get ready for another classic.
This is the Professional Golfers Association of America.
This PGA Championship will be one for the ages.
You are watching greatness in peak form.
We're raising the roof over here. We're excited. The second major of the 2025 season. It is upon us. The world's best teeing it up this week at Quail Hollow Golf Club in Charlotte, North Carolina. The last time we saw Quail Hollow host a major, Justin Thomas came out on top ahead of the 2017 PGA Championship. Now, our crew is holding it down there. We got Rick Gehman, Patrick McDonald, Jason Sobel. Fellas, bring us a little bit into your world. How's it going in Charlotte?
So far, so good. Yeah, Rick Gehman here with Jason and Patrick. So, gentlemen, the golf course has taken on a lot of rain. We're off to a little bit of a slow start this week. Monday was essentially a wash. Tuesday, storms as well, but looks like sun and nothing but blue skies ahead. Let's start with the golf course, Jason. This is a course that we see every year on the PGA Tour for the Truist Championship, now hosting the PGA Championship again. What does this shape up to be in terms of a test for these guys?
Rick, allow me to be the first to say that this course should play long and soft this week. Look, it's 7,600 plus yards, and it feels like it might be 8,000 right now. It's playing so long with all of the rain that you mentioned. And we get into the green mile, the last 3 holes, 16, 17, 18, obviously a difficult closing stretch. I want to focus on 17 here, Patrick, because we talk all about during the Players' Championship, the 17th at CBC Sawgrass. Got to hit it over the water. There's water everywhere. Well, this hole has water in front, water to the left, and oh, by the way, it's about 60 to 80 yards longer than that one. This might be the most difficult penultimate par 3 that we see in all of championship golf.
And we saw Justin Thomas in 2017 hit an absolute stunner there to close out that championship. And I think for these guys, there's not a lot of homework to do, as much as we don't want to say that. But for a major championship, preparation is always key. We heard Rory McIlroy talk today saying he came onto the golf course yesterday and he was like, I want it to feel like a major championship, but it kind of just feels like a Wells Fargo championship. So these guys who have played this course year over year, they have a ton of data, a ton of analytics to go by. And you talk about that green mile. Jason, I'm actually going to look at number 16 instead, because I think that's a hole that someone can press their advantage on with that new that bunker and that new tee box there, carrying it over 330 yards for that bunker. Seb Straka said he's going to have to lay back, hit a 7-wood into that green. But someone like Rory McIlroy, someone like Bryson DeChambeau, as Jason pointed out, you need to be long off the tee here. Those guys can press an advantage off the tee on number 16.
We talked about 16. We talked about 17. It's 18. That's the most difficult closing hole that we have on the regular schedule. We've already teased Rory McIlroy. Let's continue down that path there, Patrick, because this is going to be the first major championship that he gets to play after completing the career Grand Slam. I'm not sure if you've heard about that.
Oh.
He did, in fact, yes, do that. He completed the career Grand Slam. This could not be a better spot for him. Rory McIlroy and Quail Hollow go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Breaking news here on CBS Sports
Breaking
HQ.
news.
Rory McIlroy, Masters champion. Good to know. I'll add that to my personal models. But yeah, everything this week points out to Rory McIlroy, right? 4 times a winner at this golf course, coming in great form. Didn't have his best stuff off the tee there at Philly Cricket Club, but he mentioned the sight lines, not really too comfortable with them. At Quail Hollow, Rory McIlroy was bowling with the bumpers up pretty much. He can drive it anywhere he wants with that high draw that he has, coming in with that iron play in good shape. Jason, I do wonder if you want to have a question about Rory McIlroy. Where is he 1 month removed from achieving a lifelong dream? Is that edge still there? I kind of lean yes. He seems like he's in a very good headspace, but maybe a small question.
I'll tell you how to answer that question, which is he's unburdened, Patrick. He doesn't have the weight of the Masters hanging on his shoulders like he's had before. And I know people might say, well, yeah, but he can't win the Masters at the PGA Championship. That shouldn't have affected him for the last decade plus. But he still had that weight holding him down, the weight of, I didn't win a major championship the month before. He's now got that career Grand Slam, guys. He's playing better golf than everybody else in the world. And he comes to a place, as you mentioned, with 4 career wins at the PGA Tour stop here, Rick. I just think everything's pointing in Rory McIlroy's direction right now.
Well, everything pointing in Rory McIlroy's direction. We've got Bryson DeChambeau in the mix, Xander Schauffele rounding back into form. Let's not forget about the #1 player in the world, Scottie Scheffler.
Right.
Yes, him. Yeah, the guy who's now got a handful of major championships. He's a dominant victory the last time we saw him in Texas. This is a little bit jarring, a little bit different, Jason. It's almost like Scottie Scheffler, for the first time in 3 years, is flying in under the radar.
He's definitely not flying in under the radar.
I tried my best.
Much.
Okay.
But no, look, Scottie, I think, needed that win 2 weeks ago at the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. He won, of course, by 18,000 shots, I think it was, by the end of Sunday's play. But it really was a coronation for the last 3 days at that one. And he was 0 for 8 going into that, trying to win this year. Obviously, still playing some great golf, tee to green. Does not have much of a record, unlike Rory McIlroy, on this golf course, guys. And Rory, we mentioned, has won 4 times here. Scottie Scheffler has not played here in an individual stroke play competition. He did, of course, play in the 2022 President's Cup representing the United States. But I've got to think that puts him a little bit behind the 8 ball as far as just experience on this golf course.
Well, that President's Cup I want to talk about, Patrick, because it didn't go particularly well for Scottie, did it? Is that giving you any pause over his chances for this week?
Yeah, he mentioned how Sam Burns was kind of carrying around his carcass all week. I mean, remember, Scottie Scheffler hit a number of shanks, and that is not what Scottie Scheffler does typically. Any pause? Absolutely not. He has Teddy Scott on the back. He mentioned how he's played a ton of practice rounds, so he doesn't really buy into the inexperience. But to what Jason said, we've seen, especially these past 2 years, how close these major championships are. And if course history has anything to say that, could Scottie Scheffler lose a stroke to a Rory McIlroy, to a Bryson DeChambeau, to a Xander Schauffele over the course of those 4 rounds? It's more than possible. And so the one thing I think Scheffler does have going in his favor, along with being the world #1, along with being the best iron player, along with being the best tee to green player, is that putter of his. The putter has turned into a legitimate strength in 2025. I think that can only propel him forward and possibly to his first major outside of Augusta.
I love this graphic here, gentlemen, because it's lowest cumulative score to par at major since 2020. It's Rory McIlroy, it's Scottie Scheffler, and it's the guy that is going to finish off that grouping for Thursday and Friday. It's Xander Schauffele, Jason. The PGA of America gave it to us. They gave us the super group.
Yeah, I thought we might get the last 3 major champions that the PGA Championship has done in the past. And granted, that was usually before the move to May. Back when they were in August, they'd give us the first 3 major champions of the year. But no, we get Xander Schauffele with Scottie and Rory McIlroy. And look, Xander, he's on the precipice. It's coming, guys. I don't know if it's coming this week as the defending champion, but I think it's coming very soon for Xander Schauffele after missing 2 months of the early part of the season with that rib injury.
Yeah, the rib injury kept him out for a couple of months. His play has been rusty at best, starting to get into a little bit of form here, but now he gets to defend for the first time, Patrick.
You joked Scottie Scheffler was flying in under the radar. Xander Schauffele's flying in under the radar. I mean, they had this guy in a wine cellar doing a Zoom interview yesterday because it was quote-unquote raining. They didn't even get him in front of the full gambit of media members, and I think the question mark I had for Xander going into last week at the Truist Championship was that driver. He hasn't driven the ball great in 2025. He decided to come back with a new driver in the state of Florida off that rib injury. Those are a lot of variables, and it showed in his statistics. Off the tee, he was not good. Drove it great last week, led the field in strokes gained off the tee. If he drives it well with his history at this golf course, with his history in major championships, I'd be hard-pressed not to see Xander Schauffele in contention over the weekend.
I thought he was in the wine cellar to pick out the wines for the Champions dinner.
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
That might have been it. Well, the last time we saw the PGA Championship played here at Quail Hollow was 2017. And Jason, I'm glad you mentioned it because there has been a little bit of bouncing around here, right? We've gone through different months, and we see this golf course a lot over the course of a regular PGA Tour schedule. So how do you think it is going to compare to what we had in 2017, which was an 8-under score winning par by Justin Thomas? We've got Frankie Molinari and Louis Oosthuizen right there in the runner-up position with Patrick Reed. This is a board that, I mean, there are some throwbacks on this one.
Some throwbacks and some short hitters on this board. Francesco Molinari was a great ball striker at that point in his career, but he was never a long hitter. Kevin Kisner led that golf tournament for the first 3 days. He was never a long hitter and still isn't a long hitter. So I don't think we're going to have that type of board. The scoring could be very similar. Hand up. I was here in 2017. I covered that tournament. I didn't remember that 8-under was the winning score for Justin Thomas that week. It's a little U.S. Open-ish, and I do believe that if it stays as long and soft as we think it's going to be, if the balls are flying off these greens, the greens are getting firm with the sub-air system, that's a very interesting combination. The soft tee to green part of the golf course and a firm green complex, which could keep the score closer to even par than even we saw in 2017, and this could play, like I said, a little bit like a U.S. Open.
A lot of the analysis and narratives have been around the big 3 or big 4 or big 5, however many guys, but it seems like there's a small group that is a consensus about how many can win this tournament. So, Patrick, I'm going to ask you to go in a little bit of a different direction. Is there somebody maybe a little bit farther down, maybe a little bit under the radar, underrated, who could have a chance to win this week?
Well, I'm taking this as Ludwig Oberg's PGA Championship debut, because if you remember last year, this was a guy who had the meniscus tear in his knee. He couldn't bend down properly to read putts, missed the cut there at Valhalla. But this May version of the PGA Championship, what I think of it, I think it's a pure driving test. And you look at the winners: Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau almost winning last year, Xander Schauffele, Victor Hovland's played great in this tournament the last 2 years. I think you have to be just so good off the tee. And you know Ludwig Oberg's strength? It's that driver of his. Are there question marks with his iron play, with his short game, with his putting? Absolutely. But in the U.S. majors, when he has been healthy, he's contended at the Masters twice, and he led after 36 holes at Pinehurst #2. So Ludwig's the guy for me. If those scoring clubs cooperate whatsoever, I think he has a great chance.
Yeah, Ludwig just hasn't played great recently. 4 of his last top 5 starts outside the top 40. I had a brief fleeting moment earlier today where I thought Victor Hovland is going to win this golf tournament. I think it's already been here and gone. That said, he was second 2 years ago at Oak Hill in this golf tournament, third last year at Valhalla. We never know what to expect. Victor Hovland, to me, is the ultimate enigma right now. Sometimes his game is really good, sometimes his game is really not good, and sometimes his game is really good, and he still tries to insist that it isn't very good. It's really hard to figure out Victor Hovland. If we're looking further down the board in the betting markets, guys, there are some pretty good numbers way down the board on guys who have some win equity. Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Tony Finau are some of the guys that are at least longer hitters, so we know they can attack this golf course. And maybe if they play their best golf, they can. Not saying they will, but they can win this golf tournament.
Ludwig Oberg, Victor Hovland. I cheated a little bit, and I went with Justin Thomas because I am just fascinated with what's going to happen with him this week. His major championship record over the last handful of years has not been good, though I think it's pretty clear he's playing the best golf that he's played in the last handful of years, and he's doing it right now at a golf course he's already hoisted the Wanamaker at. We are just getting started from Quail Hollow this week in PGA Championship coverage. For Jason, for Patrick, I'm Rick Gehman. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Our guys looking good out there, and like they said, they'll be all over it this week. CBS Sports set to broadcast the PGA Championship for the 35th consecutive year, the 42nd time overall. Coverage will also include the introduction of a dynamic augmented reality enhancement on the par 4 14th hole, delivering real-time analytics and visuals. All the action going down May 17th and 18th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern.
We're just one day away from the PGA Championship getting underway at Quail Hollow. Of course, you can check it out this weekend on CBS Sports. CBS, I should say. It's Paramount, all of it. What were you saying about Rory? What is his deal? He doesn't want anyone else's game but his own?
Yeah, a reporter was like, there's so many guys that, they putt great, or they drive great. If you could just, like, take one person's a part of their game, what would it be and why? And he said, none. I want all my own. I'm going to keep them to myself.
Rory's going to try to run him back. Let's get you ready.
For whatever reason, Quail Hollow has been really good to me.
Does indeed. Rory McIlroy. Wow. Welcome to the big time.
That is outrageous.
To get my first win in the U.S. is very special, and to do it on a golf course like this is even better. From winning here as a 20-year-old, this is one of my favorite places in the world. Feels pretty good at the minute. These people have sort of watched me grow up. I've been lucky enough to win here 4 times, and I can't wait to keep coming back and see how many I can get.
Quail Hollow Club, Charlotte, North Carolina.
What a sight.
Absolutely breathtaking. It's withstood a test of time.
Great field of golfers against a great Quail Hollow course.
Layouts like these are making par a meaningful thing.
Gosh,
It's going to be all you want.
I have got great anticipation for this major championship. We have all the world's best players coming in great form.
He's done it. I don't believe it. A phenomenal talent. The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Get ready for another classic.
This is the Professional Golfers Association of America.
This PGA Championship will be one for the ages.
You are watching greatness in peak form.
We are getting ready for the PGA Championship, brought to you by Jeep. There's only one. Rick Gehman, Patrick McDonald, Michael Breed out there for us at Quail Hollow getting us ready. Rick, I'm going to send it to you because you guys are going to go over some of these big what-ifs and storylines this weekend.
We are. Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, we're going to play a little hypothetical game. We are at that point of the week where we're at a highly anticipated major championship. We are ready for this golf to start, and we're going to play a little bit of future-looking hypotheticals. Let's start with Rory McIlroy and what would happen? What would it look like a week from now if he were to go on and win the PGA Championship? Of course, Michael, just to get this set, he'd have the first 2 legs of the season slam, and it would give him 6 major championships for his career.
Well, and it would also bring into, like, you start thinking about the year that was last year with Scottie Scheffler and his 7 wins, not including the Olympics. And all of a sudden now we're seeing the major championship season go down this path with Rory having two majors and the first 2 majors. And then you look at where these next ones are going to be at Oakmont and Portrush. You start thinking, is it really possible? And I think that's probably one of the things that would kind of light the fire. The game is at the professional level has never been more popular in recent years. Now it's off and running. This would just continue to add to it.
Well, if we're already giving Rory the PGA Championship in this scenario, we've talked about this huge relief that Rory has had, Patrick, to win the career Grand Slam. I think the only thing that could rise to that level of getting those emotions going again would be for him to get to Portrush with 3 in the bag in 2025.
Oh my gosh, we're giving him the U.S. Open too already.
I'm moving him down the calendar.
So he's gone.
You're going to dream big.
We've gone from 5 to 7 now. We're going back to Northern Ireland with the Grand Slam still intact. But I think a lot of people are asking Rory McIlroy, what's your next goal? And for him, he says the rest is gravy from here on out. But I think one thing Rory really wants to accomplish is to have the most major championships among European golfers. And right now, Faudo has 6. He's tied with Seve at 5. If he gets to 6, I think he already is the greatest European golfer of all time when you think about all his accolades, the race to Dubai's, all the wins around the world. But you tie Faudo with 6, you're the career Grand Slam winner. You are for sure past him in that regard as the greatest European ever.
It is also, noteworthy that we are basically halfway through the calendar. You start racking up. This could be better than Scottie's 2024. I'm already giving him everything from here on out. It's not going to be easy, though, because our defending champion, Xander Schauffele, will be alongside Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler for the first 2 rounds. And Xander had a historic year in 2024, Michael. Not 1, but 2 different major championships in this what-if game. If he gets another one in 2025, what is the new State of the Union on Xander Schauffele?
Well, you start dreaming a little bit. Like, obviously, we look at what Rory's done. I mean, the game is just going to kind of implode. It's amazing all the different storylines that go in this. But if Xander were to pick up a win here and go back-to-back, and then you start thinking about, okay, well, could he back it up? Could we have another backup? Because he's got another major that's in front of him. I don't know. To me, it's one of those where we start to really appreciate a guy who we haven't really been talking about this year at all, and it's been the show of Rory McIlroy and obviously what we've seen with the comeback of Justin Thomas and the injury with Scottie Scheffler, and he's getting a little bit better. And now all of a sudden, those have been the main focus points of this year. If he goes and wins this, now all of a sudden, I mean, Katie bar the door. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Xander's had a little bit of a loss 2025 so far. He's working back from that rib injury, and the idea that he would have a third major championship, that would put him past Scottie Scheffler, who has been on this historically dominant run for the last couple of years.
Yeah, if he gets 3, he's going to get 4 and then 5 if we're operating under the same Rory McIlroy.
Right. We're playing 10 majors this year, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So congrats to Xander for now having 20, the most all time. But I look at the current crop of players right now on the PGA Tour, on Live Golf. There's a lot with 2. You have Xander Schauffele, you have Jon Rahm, Scottie Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa. In the discussion about the greatest American golfers of this generation has kind of been brought up recently with Justin Thomas's recent win. Right. Xander Schauffele firmly moves closer to the top of that conversation with the Scottie Schefflers, with the Jordan Spieths, who he would be tied with, and going back-to-back obviously elevates that too.
Well, modern major American winners runs through Brooks Koepka because he's got 5, and it's been mostly major championships in his career, Michael. I mean, the ratio between his major championship wins and PGA Tour wins or worldwide wins anywhere is out of control. Brooks Koepka could get to the magic number of 6. Now, his game hasn't been as sharp in majors since he won at Oak Hill. He only has 1 top 20 since then, but he would be the one to put on a really historic turn to this conversation.
What I wonder is if he does come away with the win here, do we start looking at the Live Tour through a different lens? Because we've seen what Bryson did at the Masters, and he fell away on Sunday, but at the same time, he was really part of the conversation the entire week. And if Brooks pulls a victory out here, yeah, for Brooks, it's great. But again, he falls to me in that Faldo category where you've got 6 majors, but it's really only 3 of one and 3 of another, right? And you haven't really shown the totality of your game in the other 2 major championships. But what it does for me is it kind of gets our brain thinking about, well, maybe Live, despite 54, despite having a cart, despite wearing shorts, despite having the music, despite having all those other things, they're pretty good over there.
They are, and I think there's a lot of things kind of kicking Brooks Koepka along this week. One, I think the Rory McIlroy Masters win, now tied with 5 among this generation, is a good thing to light a belly in his fire in his belly. Sorry, and another one is Brooks Koepka was the first fiddle when Live Golf first started. He is now what? 3rd or 4th going into the PGA Championship. You have Bryson DeChambeau, who has been great in major championships these past 2 years. You have Joaquin Niemann, everyone's talking about. Can he get a top 15 finish? Jon Rahm. Tyrrell Hatton's playing good golf, too. Brooks Koepka gets lost not only in the mix of the great major championship competitors right now, he's kind of getting lost in the Live Golf mix, too.
Rory's major championship that he won at the Masters was the first that Brooks has seen him win since Brooks started winning. Brooks won all 5 of his during that Rory McIlroy drought. This has got to be one of the most highly anticipated major championships that we have seen in quite some time. We're excited to get this thing underway, but for now, that's Michael Breed, that's Patrick McDonald, I'm Rick Gehman, and we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Look at this point. We know who you guys are, and if they don't, well, welcome to CBS Sports HQ and 3 of our best golf analysts. Chris, I asked you, what do you think Jordan Spieth's odds are?
Yeah, I would guess around 30 to 1.
60 to 1.
60 to 1.
60
okay,
to
I mean,
1.
yeah, it has been a while. Rick Gehman's going to rejoin us with his tier rankings for the tournament. Our PGA Championship preview presented by Jeep. There's only one. PGA Championship beginning tomorrow. So many of the best players in the world playing at the top of their games right now. CBS and Paramount Plus with weekend coverage beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, but HQ has your coverage all week. Let's welcome in Rick Gehman from Quail Hollow, the site of the PGA Championship this year. And Rick, you're going to go tier by tier here and give us some names who you think could compete and could win. We're going to start at the very top, tier 1. And it says here, the big 3. But it's not 1, 2, 3 in the world rankings, those guys that we're going to see grouped together on Thursday and Friday.
No, it's not. We lumped in the big beefy one in Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah, this is a group of golfers that are really the class of this field, and there's an expectation that Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and Bryson DeChambeau are going to be the way that this championship runs through. And for me, I look at someone like Rory McIlroy, Chris, and I'm just going to throw out the newfound freedom that he has in his game. I'm going to throw out the fact that he just completed the career Grand Slam. I'm looking at this from a statistical sense, and there is nobody better at Quail Hollow than Rory McIlroy. The weather, the precipitation, the rainfall that we have gotten this week only helps Rory McIlroy. There are places and lines that he can take off the tee here that only Rory McIlroy can take. This is all systems go for Rory to potentially win the first 2 legs of the season slam, which is an insane thing to consider, something that we haven't seen done since 2015, but it really is setting up for a perfect situation for Mr. McIlroy.
Rory, Scottie, and Bryson on that first tier. Tier 2 are guys who have been there and done that. They've won PGA Championships. I think 6 combined between these 3 guys. One of them stands out in particular for the way that he's been playing lately.
Yeah, of course. And of course, that's Justin Thomas for me. You know, no offense to Colin Morikawa or Brooks Koepka. Brooks has been playing a little bit better on the LIV Golf Tour, and Colin is still working through some things. But Justin Thomas returning to the scene of one of his PGA Championship victories here at Quail Hollow, and he's doing it in the best form that we have seen in a couple of years. When JT is going right, he is one of the best iron players in the world. That's what we're seeing right now. And even though he's a great iron player, he's going to miss a lot of greens this week, Chris. He's going to miss probably half of his greens. It's a very difficult golf course, and he has the short game ability to get up and down. Remember, when he won here 8 years ago, the winning score was 8 under. I like that. 8 under, 10 under, maybe even 11 under, somewhere in there. JT is vibing right now, and I think he's going to give a really good crack at winning his 3rd PGA Championship.
All right, Xander Schauffele, number 3 in the world, didn't make your Tier 1 Big 3. Didn't make your been there, done that, even though he's the defending champ. Where is he? Why not?
Yeah, Xander could be in a lot of different tiers. You know, the issue with Xander is he missed a couple of months beginning in 2025 with a rib injury. He's been kind of knocking off the rust since then. And really what I hope, Chris, is that Xander can use this as an opportunity to fly in under the radar, not have to answer questions about being a defending champion and not really be in the spotlight as much. He's playing alongside Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler. Everybody can keep eyes on those two. So I think it's an opportunity for Xander, and I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do this week.
Tier 3, guys who could pull it off, and one of them is a guy who's trying to pull off the career Grand Slam.
Yeah, it is. Jordan Spieth, of course. This is attempts number 8, I believe, at the career Grand Slam, and he was the first presser of the week. And question number 1 in the first presser of the week was, are you thinking about the career Grand Slam? And of course he is. The way that he's driving it is really impressive, and that's been going on for the last 18 months. We are starting to see post that off-season wrist procedure that is iron play and the shots that he has to hit where he interacts with the ground, those are getting stronger. So Jordan Spieth in a really good spot this week. The other two, Patrick Cantlay has struggled with the putter in recent weeks, although his ball striking metrics are really good. And then Victor Hovland, who took Brooks Koepka to the brink at Oak Hill, has really struggled since then. His game has ebbed and flowed. He's hitting a lot of weaker shots, things that we haven't seen out of Victor, but he has the talent to snap off and get this thing done if everything can align for him.
We have 1 tier left. It's the long shots. We only have about 20-25 seconds, Rick. Who's the one that you feel the best about?
That's Daniel Berger. He's DB straight vibing on social, and that's exactly what he's doing right now. He has a complete game, Chris. That is something that's valuable when par becomes a good score. Par is going to be a very good score around Quail Hollow this week. Daniel Berger very likely to be in the mix.
Good to see that it's dried out a little bit since yesterday in Charlotte. Might have some more rain coming later on in the week and into this weekend at the Long Quail Hollow. It's on CBS and Paramount Plus Saturday and Sunday beginning at 1 Eastern.